My brother and I are the villainous siblings in this novel. To save ourselves from our doomed fate, my brother provokes the male lead while I desperately try to clean up his mess. My brother stole the male lead's title as the top GPA student in our grade. I cowardly apologize to the male lead. I'm so sorry. So sorry. Actually, my brother cheated to get that score. I'll make sure to discipline him properly when we get home. My brother accepted the love letter from the female lead. I sniffled and sobbed. He has dyslexia and thought it was a challenge letter. Oh dear, what a mess. My brother inexplicably stuffed the male lead into a sack and beat him up. My vision went dark as I gritted my teeth and said, well, and my brother found out about my secret crush on you. So the usually aloof male lead suddenly lifted his gaze and glanced at me really. My brother is the villain in the novel and I'm the malicious female supporting character. At first I didn't believe it, what a joke, never mind the fact that I'm drop dead gorgeous, a peerless beauty. My brother is 6 feet 2 inches tall, handsome, rich, with a voice to die for, considerate, and charming, plus an 8-pack. This kind of setup should make him the male lead in any novel. Until the real male lead transferred and Liam Carter dressed in his school uniform, sharp-eyed and aloof, writing his name on the whiteboard with deliberate calm. I look at Liam, then at my brother, look at my brother, then back at Liam. TSK, my brother really falls a bit short. Perhaps my gaze was too intense because Liam casually glanced over in our direction. With just that one look, my heart raced so fast it nearly stopped. It feels like something is stirring inside me. So it's my wallet. By the time I came to my senses, I found myself already pulling it out of my pocket, counting the meager pocket money left inside. $500, a bit too little. I lowered my voice and poked my brother. Bro, I want to support someone financially. What do you think? My brother also lowered his voice. How about I break your legs? TCH, before I could snap back, our homeroom teacher, Ms. Davis, rapped the whiteboard twice and barked. Ethan Shaw, Sophie Shaw, if you have something to say, come up to the podium. My brother and I sheepishly lowered our heads. To our surprise, Ms. Davis wasn't done with us, yet she turned to Liam with a smile and said, our new student hasn't even assigned a seat yet, right? Actually, you'll sit next to Sophie. Ethan, come up here. You're sitting by the podium, so you two can't keep chatting all day. What, the male lead just made his entrance, and my brother already lost his desk mate. And such a good desk mate. As me, I'm heartbroken. It's all my fault for being momentarily dazzled by good looks. Their feud started way too fast. After class, my brother sauntered over to Liam's seat with his arms crossed, his thin lips parting to deliver. Had disaster, a cannon fodder, like my brother provoking the male lead right from the start. Liam, who had been propping his head up drowsily, now furrowed his brows and cast a listless glance over. The atmosphere grew increasingly tense, the air thick with the scent of impending conflict. I took a deep breath and declared emphatically, bro, you can't just spit out gum here. A vein throbbed on my brother's forehead. What, the Sophie who told you I was going to spit out gum? What do you want then? My brother choked on his words, his face turning red before he spun around and stormed off. I had just breathed a sigh of relief when I noticed Liam studying me thoughtfully. New classmate, sorry about that, my brother. I tapped my temple with a finger and said gravely, he has got a few screws loose, hope you can bear with him. Sorry bro, brains are precious, but survival comes first. For the sake of our lives, you'll have to endure this for now. Liam raised an eyebrow. Whether he believed it or not was unclear before burying his head back into sleep. I quietly fished out a novel from my backpack. This morning, just as I stepped out of the house, this book fell from the sky and tripped me flat on my face. I stood there, hands on hips, cursing for ages before picking up the book and realizing something was off. First, the villains in the book had exactly the same names as me and my brother. Second, every time my character appeared in the book, there were 5,000 words describing my looks with every smile and frown capable of enchanting everyone except the male and female leads. TSK, no mistake about it, this is definitely me, no doubt. 3. Unfortunately, the class bell rang after I'd only read 2 pages, so I had to hide it under my textbook and read secretly. The versions of me and my brother in the book were practically villains of the worst kind. He bullied classmates and oppressed the male lead while I fought over petty jealousies and tormented the female lead, ending with both of us being sent to juvenile detention. If not for the detention center separating boys and girls, we might be even ended up as bunkmates. I was thoroughly engrossed turning the page the book described. The male and female leads came from the same orphanage where they suffered abuse and lived in constant hunger. They relied on each other as their only support until they were separately adopted by 2 families and life became slightly more bearable. But not for long. Liam's adoptive mother was extremely controlling. She forbade him from locking his door, checked his phone daily, and would storm into his school if he so much as spoke a few extra words to anyone. She drove Liam to become an emotionally detached and closed-off person. It wasn't until many years later that Liam gradually emerged from the shadows with a heroine's help. So Liam had been suffering this miserably all along, and I actually did so many terrible things to bully him. What a cold-blooded, heartless femme fatale. I am whoosh. The book was suddenly snatched from my hands. Ms. Davis glared at me furious. Sophie Shaw, feeling bold, daring to read novels in my class, confiscated. You can get it back when you graduate. Tears welled up in my eyes instantly. No way. What if my brother and I don't even live long enough to graduate? Ms. Davis scoffed coldly, crying, one tea, help go stand outside as punishment. I hung my head and shuffled out step by step when suddenly a cold voice sounded behind me. Sorry, teacher, I was the one who lent her the book. Liam glanced at me without much emotion and said to Ms. Davis, can I have my book back now? 2 minutes later. Liam and I stood together outside the classroom. Of course, the book wasn't retrieved either. The sunlight was just right, and the warm breeze made one drowsy. I scratched my cheek and asked, why did you help me and even claim it was your book? Liam leaned casually on one leg, standing quite handsomely, got tired of sitting, came out to stand for a bit. Alright, the male lead's level of thinking is truly something a petty villainess like me could never hope to reach. A rich lavender fragrance wafted through the air. My eyes lit up as I pointed to the flower bed below. Look, the lavender's blooming. Let us go pick some later. After we dry them, we can take them home. Let me tell you, my mom makes the most amazing lavender scones. You should try making them when you get back. I was chattering away excitedly when I turned to look at Liam, only to find him lost in thought, his expression slightly dazed. I froze, suddenly remembering Liam's family situation, and lightly slapped my own face. Way to put my foot in my mouth. I quickly tried to make amends. No, don't go home. Come to my place instead. You're so skinny. I'm sure my mom wouldn't mind setting an extra place at the table. Liam's eyes flickered slightly as if he wanted to say something but hesitated. I looked at him expectantly. Say yes. After tasting my mom's scones, you won't be able to hit me anymore. Liam hesitated as he began to speak, and I nodded at him encouragingly. Say it out loud. Suddenly, Ms. Davis flung open the classroom door, jabbed her finger against my head twice, and launched into a scolding. You two are still chatting here. Do you think this is a cafe or a park? Damn it, of all times. I lowered my head in feigned submission, sulking. After being made to stand in punishment for a whole class period, I was then sentenced to sweep fallen leaves on the playground all morning. 5 clever as I am, even while cleaning the sports field, I never forgot my original purpose and gathered 2 full jars of lavender. I held up a jar in each hand, showing off to Liam. How about it? Wanna come? I guarantee the scones will be delicious. Liam's eyes were dark, so deep that any emotion seemed to sink and vanish within them, ceasing to exist. Yet now a faint trace of amusement flickered through them. But he still refused. Sorry, I can't stay out too late. Fine, deflated. I slumped back onto my desk. My brother happened to pass by and let out a cold laugh upon hearing this. Ha, can't go home too later, you a grade schooler. Do you need your big brother to hold your hand and walk you home? This time before Liam could say anything, I jumped to my feet and slammed the table. Brother, what are you saying? What did I say? My brother was startled. Don't you know, hee. I pointed at Liam, but couldn't he get the words out? No way, all those things about Liam are from the books I've read. If I just blurt them out, I'd be sent to a mental hospital as a lunatic. Besides, these are things Liam himself doesn't want to mention. I definitely can't make the decision to reveal them for him. Finally, after stammering hee for a while, I suddenly burst into tears. Don't you realize he's not an elementary school student, he's a high schooler just like us. So intense, but I don't even know what's intense about it. Liam fell silent, and my brother froze. The world went quiet on our way home. My brother scratched his head and asked me, "Well, sis, why do I feel like you've been acting strange today? Especially, why do you keep defending that Carter guy? Aren't you the same? You can't go 5 minutes without provoking him," I retorted irritably. My brother stroked his chin, pondering for a moment. I don't know what's wrong with me either, but the moment I see him, my fists start itching. Bro, you must have a hormonal imbalance. How is that possible? I'm only 17. My brother looked horrified, so I pressed my advantage. Why not? Different people have different constitutions, bro. From now on, you must restrain your emotions and be strict with yourself, or you'll get early onset dementia. Really, of course, would your own little sister lie to you? My brother remained silent, lost in thought. It was our 6th meeting. As expected, my brother's attitude toward Liam had improved significantly. At least his words weren't laced with sarcasm and veiled hostility anymore. During PE class, I seized the opportunity to pair them up for basketball. I pulled my brother aside and whispered, "Bro, you're so skilled and Liam's new here and not familiar. Yet why don't you show him the ropes? He'll definitely admire you." My brother immediately got carried away, tilting his chin up. "Don't worry, just watch how I handle this." Then I pulled Liam aside. "Deskmate, you know how it is. My brother's been a bit slow since childhood. I'm worried he might get into trouble. Could you keep an eye on him for me?" Liam nodded, got it. I sighed in relief and happily trotted off to the vending machine on the other side of the field to buy some water. When I returned, I saw my brother and Liam had already collided, both tumbling to the ground. I only looked away for a moment, and aren't you two supposed to be teammates? Speechless, I quickly stepped forward and approached Liam. "Liam, are you okay?" Behind me, my brother's eyes nearly bulged out of his head as he shouted, "Sophie." I abruptly stopped in my tracks and turned to help my brother up. "Brother, are you okay? Your little sister is so worried." "You heartless brat. That's more like it," my brother snorted with a laugh, leaning on me as he stood up, his brow tightly furrowed. He really did seem to be in pain. I lowered my head to glance at the wound. I couldn't find any wound. I looked at my brother in disbelief, yet his pained expression showed no signs of being fake. Probably internal injuries. I helped my brother walk a few steps while trying to signal someone to assist Liam, when suddenly a figure rushed past us. I froze for a moment, then I remembered. She was Chloe Jones, the female lead of the novel, the girl who had grown up with Liam in the same orphanage. And today marked their reunion after years of separation. Chloe pushed through the crowd, crouched down, and said, "Don't move, let me check if any bones are broken." Before she could even touch Liam's pant leg, he suddenly scrambled to his feet with surprising agility, showing no signs of injury whatsoever. Liam said expressionlessly, "I'm fine." Chloe was dumbfounded. "If you're fine, why have you been sitting on the ground for so long?" Her gaze swept between me and my brother, then landed on Liam, who was pretending nothing had happened, and she understood. "Such a pretentious guy. What about you? If your bones are dislocated, don't try to tough it out, and walk to the infirmary by yourself." As she spoke, Chloe walked over and lifted my brother's pant leg. After staring for a while, she asked in confusion, "Where's the wound?" She straightened up and had another epiphany. Both of them are just putting on airs. 7 Nevertheless, at my brother's insistent demand, we still escorted him and Liam as a bonus to the infirmary. The school nurse searched for ages with a magnifying glass, sweating profusely before finally locating a tiny scratch and reluctantly handing them 2 band-aids. Watching my brother's outrageously exaggerated performance, I thought for a moment and said, "Liam, since you're already here, you should get checked too. What if there are internal injuries?" Liam shook his head. "It's fine, I used to get hurt often, so I'm used to it. This little injury is nothing." I froze for a moment, then remembered Liam's past experiences. Having his palms beaten bloody by bullying caretakers at the orphanage, being physically punished for the slightest mistake at his foster mother's house. How pitiful. I couldn't help but feel a pang in my heart. My brother slammed the table and suddenly stood up. "Holy shit, this green tea bitch vibe." Immediately after, everyone present clearly heard the sound of a joint popping out of place. My brother turned pale, sucked in a sharp breath, and collapsed back into his seat. "I think I really sprained my ankle this time." The school nurse's expression was complicated. She grabbed 2 more bottles of icy hot pain relief spray for him. Chloe slapped the table in uncontrollable laughter, but as her gaze swept over Liam's face, her expression turned slightly puzzled. "Wait, Liam Carter, have we met before?" Suddenly clapping her hands, she took 2 quick steps forward. "I remember. Now it's you. Holy shit, Liam Carter, you're actually still alive." In her excitement, she kicked over the chair my brother was sitting on. Amidst a string of holy shits, my brother lay on the ground clutching his leg with a dazed expression while Chloe, pale as a ghost, gasped weakly. Doctor, quick, I think my foot is also." School nurse, well, this trip to the infirmary wasn't wasted, not a wasted trip at all. 8 When leaving the infirmary, Liam and I each carried a bag of bruise ointments, walking ahead. My brother and Chloe, one with a sprained left foot, the other with a sprained right, became each other as human crutches, lagging far behind while chanting in unison. Left foot, right foot, 1 2 1 1 2 1. Only then did I snap out of the chaotic scene from earlier. The reunion of these 2 main characters, isn't quite what I imagined. I curiously asked Liam, "Did you know Chloe before?" Liam nodded slightly. "We came from the same orphanage." "And then that's it, as the main characters, where's your unbreakable bond?" Under my ostensibly investigative but actually gossipy fervent gaze, Liam pondered for a moment, a trace of reminiscence flickering in his eyes. "She used to be the ringleader of that group of kids, always leading them and causing trouble and stealing food from the kitchen. I never joined in." He paused, then summed it up in one sentence. "She thought I was pretentious, and I thought she was noisy." I was dumbfounded. "Wait, what happened to the mutual redemption we were promised?" "This script is all wrong." Liam turned his head and glanced at me. "You seem quite interested in my past." No, I was just asking casually." I forced an awkward laugh to brush it off. Liam didn't seem convinced, and leaned in closer. Really, that handsome face loomed infinitely larger before my eyes. My heart skipped a beat, and before I could think of how to respond, I heard my brother's voice behind me, hoarse with desperation. "Sophie, stay away from him, stay away." At the same time, Chloe let out a short, sharp scream. "Damn it, why didn't you keep up?" A loud crash sounded behind me, and I turned my head belatedly. My brother and Chloe were already tangled in a chaotic heap on the ground, unable to get up. 9 After this battle, my brother was even more injured. Chloe fell on top of him, but was relatively fine, waving at us casually, before limping away. I helped my brother struggle home. After a long silence during the walk, he finally spoke. "Little sis, don't you think I've been particularly unlucky these past few days?" That's life," I replied absent-mindedly. It's not just ordinary bad luck. I think it all started when you became desk mates with that Carter kid." "Hey, that's life," I continued dismissively. "Sophie," my brother grew impatient. My expression turned serious as I said sternly, "Brother, this isn't right. You can't discriminate against Liam just because he asked from an orphanage and call him a jinx who brings misfortune. That's going too far, brother. I never thought you were this kind of person. I'm really disappointed in you." My brother froze. "Did I say that?" He paused, then said gravely, "I'm sorry, Sophie, it's my fault. I never realized I could be so narrow-minded. Thank you for reminding me I won't be like this again." I nodded in relief. Just as I helped my brother around the corner, I spotted a familiar figure under the streetlight. Liam, I stumbled back in shock, yanking my brother with me. He nearly toppled over, his mouth already opening to let out a yelp. Luckily, I reacted fast enough to clamp my hand over his mouth. "Liar," my brother nodded in understanding, and together we sneakily crouched by the wall, peeking out. Only then did we realize that under the streetlight, Liam wasn't alone. There was also a middle-aged woman of modest stature. "This must be Liam's foster mother." The woman clutched a photo in her hand, glaring at Liam. "You're in your senior year of high school. Now I've spent so much money feeding you, clothing you, transferring you to this school, not so you could make shady friends." My heart sank, though I couldn't make out the photo. As contents, clearly I could guess it must be a picture of us. The woman slapped the photo across Liam's face, its sharp edge leaving a long, thin bloodstain on his cheek. Liam remained motionless, his eyes downcast, his profile disappearing into the shadows where his expression became unreadable. Yet I inexplicably felt that he must be deeply hurt. My own heart seemed to have been trampled upon too, aching so badly I could barely breathe. The woman stared at Liam's expressionless face, her anger boiling over as her voice suddenly turned shrill. "Get on your knees." Liam remained motionless. Her fingers trembled as she pointed, nearly jabbing Liam in the face. Fine, so now you want to listen to anything I say. Is that it? I never should have adopted such an ungrateful wretch. Just wait, I'll track down every single person in this photo one by one and make sure their parents discipline them properly." "Don't go." Liam, who had been silent all this while, suddenly spoke up. Then, without any hesitation, he knelt down. The long-neglected streetlight flickered twice in that ghastly white light. He knelt straight and tall, like a green pine tree amidst a sky full of heavy snow. He said, "I want to interact with anyone anymore. 11 My brother cursed under his breath, his fists clenched so tight they creaked, pulling me back as he stepped forward to confront him. What's wrong with this person, Sophie? Stay hidden here, I'm going to go have a word with her. I raised my hand to stop him, trying my best to stay calm as I said, don't be rash. My brother seemed to realize something too and halted in his tracks. This wasn't something that could be solved by sheer passion alone. If we can't completely help Liam out of this predicament, then this impulsive act will only become a sword that stabs him in the future. Not far away, the woman seemed to have finally vented her anger and walked away, with Liam following behind. Let us think this through carefully and come up with a thorough plan before. As I spoke and turned around, I saw my brother's face deathly pale, his forehead drenched in cold sweat. I was startled. Was he really that angry? My brother weakly tugged at the corner of his lips, his smile uglier than a grimace. Little sis, your brother here got so mad just now that he stepped on the wrong foot. Me amid my brother's continuous wails, the chaotic day finally came to an end. In the middle of the night, my brother suddenly opened his eyes, while sound asleep, and shouted. Wrong. He flipped over, sat up, and dashed to my room door, banging on it loudly. This isn't right. I never knew Liam was an orphan. How could I have discriminated against him? How did I end up calling him a jinx? Sophie, come out, explain this. I rolled over and fell into an even deeper sleep. 12 Liam indeed became much colder toward us. Though his expression remained as impassive as ever, I could sense the subtle differences. For instance, his lips were pressed together more tightly than before, and his gaze was more restrained. I watched with amusement for a while, staring until Liam grew visibly uncomfortable and scribbled several CS in the blinks. Then I shot my brother a look. He immediately sauntered over, rapped his knuckles on Liam's desk, and pointed to a classroom building outside. See that building over there? My brother raised his eyebrows arrogantly. In 10th grade, I got into a fight with some punk who was collecting protection money at school. That building was donated by my mom. He pointed his finger toward another building. That one was from 11th grade, when I beat up a creep who was harassing a female classmate, and that one over there. After tirelessly listing his achievements, my brother threw his head back and laughed. Now you know how awesome I am, right? Ha ha ha. I silently raised my hand to cover my face. My brother's acting is so bad. The kind of bad that would get all his dark history exposed by haters within a day if he ever stepped into Hollywood. Still bad as it is, it works. Liam visibly relaxed a lot, no longer as tense as before. Just as I sighed in relief, I heard Liam say, did you two see something last night? I shot up from my seat and no, we didn't. Whatever my acting skills are as terrible as my brother's, fine, we saw it. I lowered my head and fidgeted with my fingers. Sorry, we didn't mean to peek, and don't worry, we're definitely not laughing at you. We just thought maybe we could help you with something. Liam looked slightly stunned with a hint of bewildered uncertainty about how to respond. In the end, he just said stiffly, it's okay. My eyes lit up as I tightly grasped Liam's hand. Then, do you want to leave that home? We've already devised a meticulous plan. We can definitely help you. Perhaps it was the burning brightness in those eyes, or perhaps it was the warmth transmitted through that held hand. Liam found himself inexplicably wanting to believe those words unconditionally. He said okay. At dusk, my brother and Chloe were hiding in the shadows outside the school gate, lying in wait. I crouched beside Liam, taking notes. Say it again. What does she hate you doing the most? Grade slipping, coming home too late, locking my room door, chatting with friends for more than 10 minutes, and Liam paused, then added one more word, dating. Without suspecting anything, I held the notebook and pondered for a while, then circled the item about dating. All right, let us do it this way. I affectionately linked arms with Liam, putting on a delicate and dependent demeanor as we walked toward the school gate. Liam's body noticeably stiffened. I paused mid-motion, only then realizing what I had done. The night was deep and utterly silent. Only the sound of two breaths intimately entwined filled the air. This is getting a bit too intimate, buddy. The short distance felt increasingly uncomfortable each step, making me more uneasy. The moment we stepped out of the school gate, my brother let out a sharp scream in the darkness. Something's wrong. This idiot going straight for the element of surprise. I followed the sound, but my eyes landed on Liam's foster mother storming toward us first. She didn't seem the least bit affected by my brother's outburst. Mission accomplished. Without thinking too much, I grabbed Liam's hand and ran. Just as we turned a corner, my brother and Chloe caught up with us. My brother was still shouting. Who said you could hold my sister's hand? Let go, let go. I forced a laugh. Haha, actually I was the one holding his hand. My brother's shouting grew even louder. If Chloe hadn't finally lost her patience and covered his mouth, the neighbors would have called the police to report a disturbance. 14 That night, Liam was assigned by my brother to stay in the guest room farthest from mine. The next morning, he followed us to school. Just as I expected, that person was already waiting in the office early. Liam told me her name was Anna. The moment Anna saw me, she rushed over with fire in her eyes. So you're the shameless hussy who is seducing our Liam? Come here, you little brat. What kind of upbringing did your parents give you? Without a word, my brother stepped in front of me. Anna grabbed his collar and shoved him aside. My brother took the opportunity to fall smoothly, sliding away before clutching his leg with a dramatic cry. "Ah, my leg is broken, pay up." Seizing the moment, I dropped to my knees, tears welling up as I grabbed my brother's shoulders and shook him back and forth. Brother, don't you die on me. It was still early, and the only unlucky soul in the office was Mrs. Davis. She knew a thing or two about Liam's family situation, and as she watched our little performance, a sudden stroke of inspiration hit her. "Oh, dear young Master Xiao, how did you get hurt? I'll have the Xiao family send someone to pick you up right away. But this has nothing to do with the school, so please don't take it out on us. Let Carter's mother handle the compensation alone." What do you mean it has nothing to do with the school? My brother erupted in fury. Let me tell you, if there's even the slightest problem with my leg, I'll demand every single building my family donated to the school back. And you, Liam Carter, I'll make sure no high school in all of America dares to accept you. I strongly suspect that last line was taking the opportunity to settle a personal grudge. Anna's already raised palm hung in the air, never landing. Young master, the Shao family donating a building, she murmured, turning stiffly with an awkward laugh. Misunderstanding, all a misunderstanding. I didn't even use any force. How could there be a fracture? My brother snorted coldly. This isn't up to you to decide. Anna's rising fury was abruptly stifled, leaving her hands trembling with anger. You all conspired to frame me. I dramatically covered my mouth and gasped, Auntie, you can eat carelessly, but you can't speak carelessly. There are surveillance cameras in the office. It was clearly you who pushed my brother. Anna, sensing the situation was turning against her, began shouting recklessly. Call the police. I'm calling the police. Liam, who had been silent all this while, suddenly spoke up. Mom, let us stop here. Anna froze, only then realizing how long it had been since Liam last addressed her this way. So many years had passed. The duration of her hysterics, met with his silent resistance, had long surpassed those once warm and simple days. 15. Liam's tone was flat, as if he were merely discussing some trivial matter. I turned 18, so your guardianship over me has already ended. Whoever I choose to be friends with is my own business. Between them, it had always been Anna who needed Liam, not the other way around. A deathly silence spread through that confined space. Anna's expression shifted from disbelief to anger before finally dissolving into sheer exhaustion. The ever-furious Anna suddenly hunched over, her entire frame collapsing inward as she bent forward. Tears streamed down the fine wrinkles at the corners of her eyes, tracing paths like a meandering river. Why won't you ever listen? Everything I've done was for your own good, Liam. Why can't you understand that? Liam gazed at her and said softly, you took me out of the orphanage. I was grateful once, but now, if you truly care about me, then let me go. The noise of chattering voices gradually rose outside the door as students giggled and playfully filed into the classroom. Anna seemed lost in thought for a moment, her expression distant, before she finally turned away and left. Ms. Davis picked up the exam papers in her hands, her tone uncharacteristically gentle. You've put on quite a show for me first thing in the morning. You lot, all right, you're all still young. No matter how big the obstacle before you seems now, you'll overcome it eventually. When you look back later, it won't even seem like a big deal. She patted Liam on the shoulder and went out on her own. Only a few of us remained in the office. I watched as Liam wearily rubbed his temples. I know his mood must be really bad right now. Suddenly Liam took a step closer to me and said, Sophie, can I lean on you for a while? He rested his head on my shoulder, yet his movements were restrained, barely making contact with my body. I think he just needed something to lean on, so I raised my hand and hugged him back tightly, hoping it would make him feel a little better. My brother instantly exploded with rage. He stood behind Liam, his face contorted as he glared at the watch, counting down the seconds. 30 seconds, you've been hugging for 30 seconds. Now hey, that's enough already. Liam politely stepped back, offering a faint smile. Thanks, hey, no problem, we're friends, aren't we? I flashed a big grin, covering my ears as my brother dragged me out amidst his endless nagging. Completely unaware of Liam's gaze fixed on my retreating figure, his pitch black eyes swirling with indescribable emotions. After a long silence, he finally murmured, friend. Just friends at 16. After the first mock exam, my brother actually miraculously scored first place. I was terrified. Although my brother's grades were decent in the novel, Liam had never fallen below first place since transferring to this high school. At this moment, Liam stood before the ranking list, his brow furrowed, his expression growing increasingly inscrutable. I nervously shuffled over, making small talk. Wow, the weather's nice today. Liam responded with a deep voice, it's still a bit chilly lately, your brother. My heart skipped a beat, and I immediately bowed at a perfect 90-degree angle, offering a practiced and seamless apology. I'm sorry. So sorry. Actually, my brother cheated at everything. I'll go home and properly discipline him. Liam was taken aback. I mean, tell your brother to wear more clothes. What if he passes his cold to you? How I froze in place. So it wasn't he about the weather getting colder and preparing to bankrupt my brother's company. When we got home, I immediately grabbed my brother by the collar. Speak, how did you score first place? Whoever you are, get out of my brother's body. Copied, my brother answered with shameless honesty. My vision went dark. Well, it really was copied. What possessed you to copy your way into first place? My brother declared righteously. Sis, don't you think Liam, despite having escaped his foster mother, still has his nerves wound too tight? I'm setting an example to show him that it's no big deal to not be first place sometimes. I froze. I never expected my brother to be so perceptive. I misjudged him. My brother smiled faintly and pulled out a delivery box from behind him. Besides, Dad said he'd buy me the latest PS5 if I got first place. Hey, that was your real goal all along. The final year of high school passed without much novelty. Just before the SAT exam, an unexpected bombshell sent shockwaves through the entire school. Chloe confessed her feelings to someone on the playground with a love letter. Chloe, a confession to whom could it possibly be? Liam. Suppressing an inexplicable twinge of bitterness in my heart, I craned my neck to look toward the playground. Not far away, a girl tucked the stray hair behind her ear as she handed a pink envelope to the boy across from her. So youthful, so dreamy, but why does that guy look more and more like my brother? Holy shit, it really is my brother. Liam better not see this. I turned my head scanning the surroundings for Liam, only to find him already standing by the window, looking down. Oh no, he has already seen them. Liam's gaze lingered on the two figures for just a moment before casually drifting into the distance. Oh no, he is already planning where to bury my brother. I'm pacing around in a panic, brother, after all the effort I've put in to barely maintain the fragile friendship between you and the male lead. You go and steal the female lead instead. Are you out of your mind? Never mind, I closed my eyes, steeled my heart, and moved closer to Liam. Liam couldn't help but smile slightly when he saw me approaching Sophie I just saw on the playground. I hurriedly interrupted, misunderstanding. This is a huge misunderstanding. My brother has dyslexia. He probably thought it was a challenge letter. Oh dear, what a mess. Dyslexia? Liam raised an eyebrow. Yeah, exactly. I nodded repeatedly. Liam looked at me with a strange expression and pondered for a moment. This seems quite serious. It's best to go to the hospital and get it checked out. When I saw my brother, I couldn't hold back my anger. Did you promise her? And in no way. After all, we're STST, still high school students. Right now, we should prioritize our STST studies first. My brother's face turned red, his words coming out in broken fragments. Well, he is stuttering. How principled of him. Besides, as your older brother, of course, I should set a good example by not dating in high school. I sneered, about to fire back a sarcastic remark when Liam's face suddenly flashed before my eyes. Dating me? That's a question worth pondering. I rubbed my chin, falling into an eerie silence. Ignoring my brother, I quietly retreated to my room to contemplate life. However, in places beyond my sight, my brother's expression turned downright ugly. He was practically gnashing his teeth. As I thought, it's that damn kid, that bastard. After finishing my SATs at age 18, I rushed home and slept like the dead for a full day. When I woke at dusk, I finally noticed Liam had sent me a message. The movie you like is out, wanna go see it tonight? I booked a restaurant. I threw off the blanket and ran out. Bro, why didn't you remind me? My brother stumbled out of his room, bleary-eyed. How long was I asleep? What's the date today? Never mind, my brother's even more unreliable than I am. I rushed to the cinema entrance where Liam patted my back to help me catch my breath. Don't rush, there's still some time before the movie starts. Not because of the movie, but because I wanted to see you. This sentence swirled in my heart. Yet I still couldn't bring myself to say it. After catching my breath, I realized something wasn't quite right. It was midsummer, yet Liam was actually wearing a long-sleeve shirt, and with sharp eyes I noticed a small bruise peeking out from the collar of Liam's shirt. What is going on? I started unbuttoning his shirt right away. Liam's voice trembled slightly. Sophie. I ignored everything and pulled open his collar. Sure enough, hidden beneath the fabric was a large bruise. My heart ached terribly, and I reached up to touch it gently. Liam's eyelashes fluttered faintly at my touch. Does it hurt? Did someone give you trouble? No, don't lie to me. I glared fiercely at Liam, who pursed his lips in discomfort before hesitantly speaking after much deliberation. Actually, it was your brother. My brother. I felt as if struck by lightning. On the day after the SATs, your brother kidnapped me. On my way home, he punched me while crying and muttering things I couldn't quite understand. I didn't hear a single word Liam said after that. Bro, I looked up at the sky in despair. I really want to kneel down and beg you to stop courting death. Then I realized I was already kneeling, yet you were courting death even faster. At this point, there's only one way left, I stammered as I tried to salvage the situation for my brother. Well, actually, it's because my brother found out about my crush on you, so he... Liam suddenly lifted his gaze, staring straight at me. Really, I nodded with the resolve of one facing death. Truth be told, it wasn't entirely a lie. After careful consideration, I realized I had indeed developed inappropriate feelings for Liam without even noticing. As the villainess, I've ultimately taken the blasphemous path of coveting the male lead. I'm so damned, but the next second Liam pulled me tightly into his embrace, his fluffy head nuzzling against my shoulder. I like you too, Sophie. I've liked you for a very, very long time. TSK, it felt like fireworks were exploding before my eyes across the entire world. I dizzily returned Liam's embrace, my dazzling, brilliant first love. From this moment onward, at 19, after our college acceptance letters arrived, the four of us spent an entire day gathered together, making plans. In the end, Liam chose UCLA, Chloe went to USC, while my brother and I opted for a nearby private university. None of the schools were too far apart. When I returned to high school to collect my records, Mrs. Davis handed me a book with a knowing smile. Only then did I remember that novel I'd picked up was still in her possession. When I opened the book again, its contents had completely transformed. The once cliched plotlines had vanished, replaced by the story we truly lived, a tale called youth. Perhaps fate was never meant to bind anyone. The real future can only be written by our own hands. I turned to the last page. This long story has reached its end. And the ending had only one line: for the rest of our lives, may our home be warm with hearthlight and Sophie be safe year after year. The end.